An absence of 9 to 5 working hours, fitness regime, work-life balance, weekend getaways have been the normal for entrepreneurs and corporate professionals alike. Addressing this much neglected issue of wholesome well-being is our session titled Success in Business and Life, the Importance of Fitness and Emotional Well-being. Mr. Zaruk Shah, Director, Grand Square Mall, will chair this session. An engineer by qualification, he took over his family's global gemstone business and got the world's attention with his creations. He is well known for having designed the exclusive line of diamond jewelry for 100+ Disney stores in Japan and for being an active member of luxury brand Scintilla, Monaco's creative team. Design with social well-being is his motto, and a big example is Grand Square Mall, one of the most celebrated malls of South Chennai. It has activities that keep children engaged while connecting with them through fun and entertainment. This most sought-after motivational speaker authored Yomi no Monogati, a book that captures his journey as an entrepreneur.
Good day all. Thank you, Sana, for the wonderful introduction. Welcome to today's panel discussion. We are going to talk about how fitness and emotional well-being, physical health and emotional well-being is very important for a successful business life. And thank you, UEF and our dear president for giving me such an opportunity to host this panel discussion. I welcome the panelists. We are across all different time zones. It's a good day to you all. I've seen like a lot of entrepreneurs. I think most of the entrepreneurs work really hard to pursue their dreams and passion. But at the same time, they try to neglect one of the most important aspects in their life, which is their physical health and their emotional well-being. If you see like world leaders and entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Barack Obama, Putin, the list goes on. Apart from being great leaders and entrepreneurs, one important thing they have in common is their passion for fitness. And in fact, all of them attribute their success in business life due because of their physical and emotional well-being. Along with our distinguished panelists today, I would like to enlighten the audience the importance of physical health and emotional well-being. Before we starting the discussion, opening the floor, I would like to introduce the panelists to everybody. First, we have our dear president, Mr. Ahmed Buhari. Mr. Ahmed Buhari is the founder, president, and CEO of Coal and Oil Group, an India-centric integrated energy and infrastructure company with interest in power generation, coal trading, shipping, logistics, and industrial parks. He is also the president, United Economic Forum. His other passion has been to actively contribute towards nation building. Apart from that, he is my dear cousin and my friend. We are childhood friends. He is my inspiration in for business as well as fitness. I mean, I can never compete with him. He's always much ahead in his fitness level. Welcome, Mohammed. Then we have Dr. Balu Pichaya is a leading psychiatrist with the Emotional Wellness Clinic in the UK. He is very much a Chennai boy, finishing his doctorate degree from the prestigious Stanley Medical College. Dr. Balu had the privilege of studying and working with some of the most accomplished entrepreneurial minds of information technology, media, real estate, sports and business during his 1 year of full-time MBA at the Said Business School, University of Oxford. Very happy to have you, Doctor. Mr. Sam Chan is the Executive Director of Blue Monsoon Capital and a seasoned entrepreneurial executive with in-depth understanding of the emerging markets and the business cultures and practices. Having conducted business in the United States, Middle East, Malaysia, Turkey, Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. Welcome, Sam. And we have a lady panelist, Ms. Amita Maheshwari. She is a senior manager HR with Wipro. She has handled crisis management in Chennai during the Chennai floods, Varda cyclone, etc., with minimal impact on business delivery, coupled with the employee safety and well-being, which is one of her topmost priority. She was awarded the Women of Wipro Award twice in her career with Wipro. Welcome, Amita. With this distinguished panelist, I would like to open the session for floor. So now all of you are stalwarts in your own business, right? My first question, please, I would like the audience to please tell us about yourself on your personal side, not about your work side, and what are your fitness health regimes which you do. We can start from our President Ahmed.
Thank you, Zaruk. It's wonderful to be here. I didn't expect to be in this session, but I was suddenly summoned by Zaruk to come and participate. So thank you very much for having me over here. First and foremost, I think you're far more fit than I am, Zaruk. So I better, you're definitely more fitter than I am. Sorry, what was the question again? Can you just repeat it? What do I do for?
We'd like to know more about your personal side and what is your fitness health regime?
What is my fitness and health regime? Okay, fine. Zaruk and I have off the record discussed this many times. Definitely sleep is one of them. I think that's like a top priority item. That's been very important for me. Then I would say my dose of fitness has been cycling for a very long time. I try to do it, 3 to 4 times a week, and I think it really is essential. Some sort of physical exertion, I'm sure many of you will agree that fitness is very, very important. Then whenever I get time, horse riding, deep sea diving, swimming, these have all been items, that I'd like to do every so often, but definitely thrice a week, 4 times a week. Cycling has been something which is very, something that I do quite often. Other than that, what I try to do every so often, Zaruk, I think you probably know this, I must have told you this, I try to switch off completely. Like when things get really bad, like as they say, when the shit hits the fan, I go on super silent mode. And maybe a day, 2, 3 days, and just go with the flow. Don't get too bothered with, what's happening, because as they say, this too will pass. It all passes eventually. So if you give it some time, I think it's been a phenomenal healer as well for me.
No, this is one question I also wanted to ask you, because personally I know about your fitness and then your adrenaline rush. Sometimes when you ask me to do things, like I really get scared, but I don't know how you do that. And one most important thing which you mentioned, I remember once you tell there was a crisis, and that time you forgot everything, and then you went to Kutralam and then sat under the falls, And I don't know, probably that's one of your reasons. I've never seen you getting flustered at any time. You're always calm and collected, and that's a great insight, Ahmed. Thank you so much, Dr. Balu. Dr. Balu, it's your turn, please.
Thank you, Zaruk, for having me. I would say, particularly working with people who are already stressed, and I mainly focus on trying to stay sane. This is the most common question I get asked. So we do have a routine for the mind. So getting up at a certain time and having a routine. Sleep is very important. But also practice of mindfulness and some meditation routines. And having a sort of objective view on life. So constantly training the mind to look at scenarios in a very constructive way and not personalizing too much has been my thing for the last 3-4 years, and particularly working with very successful, high-stressed entrepreneurs. That's been very important for me. But I do walk. I like the sun and the sea, which we don't have much of in London. That's one of the reasons today I'm in Dubai. I just escaped for no reason for a week, just to be by the beach and absorb the sun and sea. So that's about me.
And go ahead, Sam. What is your fitness or health regime, or how do you keep yourself calm?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Zaruk, and thank you, Ahmed, and also thank you, UEF, for actually including me in this interesting discussion for me, actually personally. So in terms of my routine, I would try to break that down to two main things along physical and also mental. So physically, I used to play table tennis pretty competitively, although that at the professional level. But right now, it's really our dog that actually keeps me busy every day. So that's pretty much my physical, my dog. I have to walk him 3 times a day, and then sometimes we run, and then other than that, I try to do a couple of sports twice, if not 3 times a week. So that's my physical routine. So although I might not even call that a routine at all, other than walking the dog 3 times a day. In terms of mentally, I echo what Dr. Balu just mentioned. I try to focus on the purpose and meaning of the work, regardless if if it's a particular project or regardless if it's the initial, whatever initiative that our portfolio company is undertaking, try to focus on what the benefits or the service our product is able to bring to the target clients. Try to think about whatever the work that we are doing is going to benefit our community, the employees of the company, and also ultimately our shareholder. So without going further, let me just stay focused on those two things.
That's great. I really like the way what he said. When you look at a company, you see how you can help the company, even the product, the emotional well-being of the people. So you take care of that a lot. So that increases productivity, and that's a great insight. Thank you, Sam. Amita, it's your turn, Amita. How do you keep yourself occupied in your physical health or emotional well-being? Amita?
Again, I think network is bad.
No problem. We'll come back. And again, in continuation with the same question, all of you have been. I have my own physical routine as well. These days, I'm into boxing. And the second question I would like to put you is like these exercises or whatever routines you have, how has actually helped you in your emotional well-being for you, and how has that helped you as a person or in your business life? How has it helped you? We can start with Dr. Balu.
So for me, as I mentioned, I work with the mind a lot, and nowadays, as you can imagine, the world is sort of knowledge economy, and most of us are reading constantly, analyzing things, and we are exposed to several stresses which we probably may not have any control over, and particularly people who are passionate and who want to make a difference. They want to be reasonably in control because they feel that they can achieve more by being so. But in an uncertain world, we realize that nothing is in our control, and the only thing we can do is control the way we react to what is happening to us. So one of the major things that I have realized is to be able to differentiate between external and the internal stresses. What I mean by external stresses is a good example can be things like the pandemic. We have no control over it. Sure. There are many other things, relationship issues, financial problems, global issues that we don't have any control over it. But the internal mind is largely within our control. And the way we respond to some of these, whatever adverse events determine how well we are internally. And learning some of those techniques has really helped me. But this is what I do constantly. And me, training myself to be able to do that is allowing me to then address these issues with the people I see. So that for me, that is key. Like how we train and maintain the body, we need to train and maintain the mind. Because we use our minds a lot. And the simple advice I usually have for others, and that's applicable to me, is if we have a mind and if we are using it, we need to always think who is maintaining it. It doesn't have to be a very highly skilled professional. It could be self-maintenance to start with, but we need to be aware of the fact mind needs maintenance. That's the first step.
Not many people actually think of those aspects. The mental, emotional well-being is a very important topic these days, And thank you really for bringing to highlight. And Ahmed, how has exercise and these physical fitness has helped you as a person in business?
Sorry. Completely. My God, I can't imagine, what would have happened. I remember many, many years ago, I think I was reading about, was it the Koch brothers? I can't remember who it is, They were talking about business many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, when they said, for people running businesses, it is so important to have fitness because we are so stressed out with so many things happen, right? You've got this problem, you've got that problem, that issue, this issue. But that's inevitable, right? In the corporate world, it's just going to happen, right? So like what Doctor was saying earlier, it's inevitable. That's the external world. It is going to happen. So what you need to do, and like what Doctor was saying, what at least I've tried to do, and I'm sure many people have done, is to internalize it. So what we can do is take care of ourselves. You can't influence, customer not paying or, pandemic coming or whatever. That's completely out of our control, right? And what we can control is how we feel about it. And so the exercise or going to the beach or going to the falls or hanging out with good friends like Saruk, and and of course I wanted to say one more thing. Also for me, what's been very important, I think you may have heard this in somewhere else that I've said it, is the like what Sam was saying earlier, the passion and the purpose with which we get engaged. I have always found that the more purposefully engaged one is, it really helps in mental well-being. It's just a feel-good factor. The more purpose-oriented work that we do, the more fulfilled one is, and the doctor can correct me if this thought process is right, and that sort of allows, better well-being overall, right? So purpose, passion, two simple formula that I try to use anytime. More purposefully engaged we are, and more purposefully and passionately engaged.
So, I mean, since I know you well, I can really watch for that. So you, not only you find passion with your health and fitness routine, and I mean, sometimes you always want the entire nation or the society to grow along with you. And I feel like so much of passion you have in that. And that gives you a lot of satisfaction, probably like what you said is right. It's you don't see only for yourself, you see for the others. That also gives you a satisfaction, that helps you with your emotional well-being. Personally,
satisfaction, Zaruk, it gives a lot of energy.
Yeah, I mean,
like this whole UEF World Summit, it has been backbreaking work. 100 speakers, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 delegates. Everything has to go meticulous, and so what drives us? What makes you come and do and whatnot? It's a larger purpose. We are trying to, make a difference to so many people's lives, bringing people together. It's definitely a purpose, right? What we're trying to do. So somehow we get the energy, that we are doing something meaningful, and that really helps for well-being. And you've seen people who have a lot of time. Doctor probably has seen a lot of these people, a lot of time in hand, not doing really anything which is very purposeful, and then get depressed, or people who are doing things which they don't really like, or stuck in a bad job, a bad relationship, bad this, bad that, vicious cycle. And then it's like a downward cycle after that. I think Amita wants to say something. We've been
Amita, like welcome back. I was just asking the other panelists, like, what was the fitness routine and how it has helped them as a person or in the business life? Just a few sentences, please. You can talk about yourself.
You're able to hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Oh, great. Okay. So before I get into what the question which you have asked, I just want to thank, and I'm extremely honored and humbled to share this platform with eminent panelists here. And I really appreciate UEF for organizing this event and focusing on such an important topic, which is very close to my heart. So we have been doing a lot of things in our organization, and so now coming to my personal thing, and then I'll share what we are doing from an organization perspective also on this. Now, I'll not say that I am a fitness freak, but I have been regular in my mild exercises and simple workouts, starting from my early morning walks and late evening walks. And in the current scenario in the work from home mode, it's not easy to do any physical workout. So what we have been doing it in our office, in our workplace, in terms of our home workplace now, a simple stretching exercise, which I do it, so that I mitigate any back or neck related posture issues. That I've been doing it very religiously. Another thing which is there is, for me, exercising for a long duration is not my cup of tea. So I engage in Tabata workout, which is little intense in terms of cardio, but very small intervals in terms of 3 to 4 minutes, which we do it in the mornings. So that's another thing which I do. And at times I also practice yoga. And as rightly said earlier, so it really helps as a stress reliever, big anxiety reliever, specifically in this current situation. I just wanted to highlight one more aspect where I focus on is, apart from this physical and mental, is also on my food habits. So what I'm focusing right now is as much as to stay on the low fat diet, low carbs. I'm avoiding sweets and chocolates, which is very difficult a few years back. But yes, I've started doing that. And I practice something called that mindful eating. And specifically when we are coming out of this festive season, and now the new year is there, Christmas there, a lot of festive
or festivals are coming up. So enjoying the experience of the meal with moderation and resistance, and not just eating everything what is there in front of me. So that's where which I'm following up. And the last but not the least is you would have heard about the term hangry, correct?
Angry.
Hangry, Hangry. That is hungry when angry.
Oh, wow.
Correct. It usually it used to happen with me. Mood often affects food habits. Okay, when we are in stress, we start eating whatever is there in front of us. So I'm consciously avoiding any impulsive or emotional eating so that I take care of my diet. So these are some of the basic and uncomplicated practices which I follow for fitness and good health.
No, it's very multifaceted. I mean, that's why no wonder you've been got the Wipro Women Award twice. And actually, it's very good that you talked about the nutrition, diet, because when people exercise, they okay, I'm exercising. I can eat everything. Exercise is only 30 to 40%. Your diet and your nutrition is about 70% for healthy well-being. I think that's a very important point. I noted down. Mita. We can go with Sam. Like normally, the next question I want to ask the panelist is: so all of us are married, and then we have a family. I think the work-life balance is very important for any entrepreneur or a corporate employee. Sometimes you see entrepreneurs like really working very hard, neglecting their family life. So how are we at a certain time, maybe at this stage we realize the importance of work-life balance. And how do you guys manage your work-life balance? We can start off with Sam.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you for that question, actually. And I think my wife will definitely appreciate that question. I obviously, for the particular line of work that we do, I think there are two main categories of work. One is the ongoing and also the periodic work that we have to do day in, day out. For example, engaging our stakeholders from portfolio company to our shareholders, which is like ongoing. We do that every day. And there's another type of work which is more a quick, much faster pace, transaction-related activities. But obviously, the other third one, which is I did not mention, which is really our personal life. So I try to compartmentalize them and then put a strict boundary around them, so that we, unlike my earlier days, which I could work 18 hours in a day for 3 days in a row, and might not even go home, sleep in the office. So I stopped doing that. But I think going back to the one of the things I just mentioned earlier is that how exactly we are able to compartmentalize the different, the three main segments of our life is that we try to meaning and purpose onto whatever things that we are doing at the time. And then one of the major things I try to do right now is try to manage the responsibilities, including delegation of the responsibility to the appropriate parties that's involved. Because, regardless how many hours that we work on it, there's no way that we are able to accomplish everything. But getting a community of people involved, regardless if it's a work, regardless if it's not related to the work, get support from the community, from the family, I think will make whatever things that we do in our daily life a lot more meaningful, a lot more appreciated by the people surrounding us.
That's great. That's great. Ahmed, your turn. I know you're a family man. I want the rest of them to know about your work-life balance.
And nowadays, the work-life balance has become so much. The wife comes and asks, why the hell aren't you going to office? I think you've been here for too long now. And then the son comes and asks, Dad, are you not going to office? The daughter comes and asks, Dad, are you not going to office? I'm like, I am going to office, guys. Come on, leave me alone now. So I did leave literally because I was staying at home. And, so then I said, okay, guys, leave you now at home. I think we've had enough family time. So now good to go to office time. But the pre-COVID days, I used to take time off for sure. Make sure that the holidays are there, weekends are there. And I don't try to overwork. as much as possible, trying to restrict the number of hours. In fact, I find that I'm more productive than when I work lesser number of hours. For me, I'm a great believer in the 6 hour work schedule. I think that makes a big difference, because you just at least personally for me, I'm a lot more clearer when I work less number of hours and focus on what is very important. The more important things, which then gives you time for the family, to go pick up your daughter in school or drop them off or take them cycling. But if you're not able to manage, if I'm not able to manage and the work goes on to 8 hours and 10 hours and 12 hours and 14 hours and whatnot, then everything gets topsy-turvy, right? So getting things done very efficiently, having, like what Sam was saying, having a team of people. And for me, this, I used to tell my colleagues this before. I said, when one is stressed out, when we've got 100 problems, and we've got lots of colleagues to work with, it's like if you're able to share it with different colleagues, even sharing it physically, even discussing with colleagues, right? And just, sort of leaving the burden with them. Maybe they can't do anything about it, but at least you shared it with them, and that like reduces the load, the stress that one feels, right? When you work as a team, when you've got a good relationship with the team, then that helps your overall stress levels to come down. Then which hopefully enables you to spend more time with more productive things and more family oriented, because you see people who keep everything to themselves, I want to do this and I'm the most powerful and I'm the CEO and I'm the president and I'm, chief operating officer, CFO, whatever. I hold everything. They hold everything so tight and they get so stressed out about it. Because everything then adds up, right? You cannot then find time for the family. You can't find time. Colleagues get upset. It's a vicious combo. At least that's what I found out. And if you're able to pass it on, to n number of people who have a lot of faith and trust, right? Then the problem is divided among lots of people. Then you can spend time with the family. Then you get time for everything.
So it's great because I've seen up and close how you work. I really always admired your work style. You do like great projects. People even cannot imagine. But I've seen you empower other people, your colleagues. So you really give them a free hand, and most of your colleagues are appreciative. And actually, by empowering them doesn't really make you less, that's another thing which we really need to learn from you. Great insights. Dr. Balu, your work-life balance, please.
This is an interesting question for me because, and I shouldn't be saying this, but I will. For me, there's no clear distinction between work and life. Work becomes life. For the simple reason that, you experience lives through your work. Because that's what I do. If you look at it from a technical point of view, do I have an office where you start work at a certain time and finish at a certain time? Then you could say that I agree with Ahmed there, because the lesser you work, the more productive you are. And I usually tell people not to have anything more than 45 minutes. If you're doing something, stop at 45. Sometimes 20 is effective, sometimes 45. Not more than that. Have a break before you go back. And, as you may have read about, Jeff Bezos famously talking about how fewer decisions he makes, when he goes on the top. One of the things I find very common among the people I work with is this concept of loneliness. People say it's very lonely at the top, and that particularly leads to this fear, this burden. These are the words some entrepreneurs use. And when you enjoy your work, it doesn't become like work. You kind of, live your work. And there are many issues that we face, and they're not very clear to most people. So for me, I take extended periods of time away, but we're still connected in some ways. I don't visit the office. So changing routine is my work-life balance, for example. So for example, when I have to write long reports or work on some complex cases, I go away to a beach somewhere. Sit by the sea and think about them. Is that work? Is it life? I don't know. You know what I mean? So
I think you balance it really well. You enjoy where you work. So you probably your work-life balance is kind of merged. It's one entity, but you actually take now. I think you're away from Dubai. London, Dubai, to take the sunshine, but still you're working. I think it's a great thing.
Exactly.
It's like what you love what you're doing. So I think travel is a passion, which is your balance. And what about you, Amita?
Well, food. I think that's again another important thing. But obviously we try to balance as much as we can.
Good, great. What about you, Amita? In fact, this question is very important because as a woman, the work-life balance is very, very difficult. So how do you manage it? And we need to know.
So, okay. So I've been hearing this question multiple times. So for me, I feel a work-life balance, many feel that it is a moonshot, but I feel it is not that something which we cannot achieve. And specifically what I'm hearing from Doctor and from Sam on delegation, enjoying. So if you're enjoying the work, you will not feel that there is a need to have a work-life balance. So one thing which I've heard it from one of the leaders is balance is just not better time management, but also boundary management. Okay, so in order to have this work-life balance, it's important we draw the line between our office and our work and our life. So if we plan our day, that's what I do, plan our day, prioritize our work. This really helps. If we engage in proper planning, prioritizing of all the activities, as rightly said by our panelists, on taking time off, I ensure that these are the breaks which I need to take a break to ensure that I spend time with my family, pursue my hobbies with passion. That really helps me in this entire process. Not in that, specifically COVID situation has taught us a lot, okay, and whether family and spouse have been supporting, and this support is very important and essential. We have found that now husbands and wives distribute their home chores and manage it quite well. So this has really helped in increasing the engagement levels, the satisfaction level, and also my productivity. In fact, I am a very social person, so this also helped me to strengthen my social connections. These type of initiatives has really helped. And now coming back to Sam's point on delegation. So delegation, yes, while I ensure that I delegate my work to my team because I manage a global workforce. So I ensure that we delegate it equally because we cannot take all the loads. Equally, delegation at home is also important. And a very small, simple thing, I ensure that I delegate my kids' studies also with my husband. So we divide the portions, what I have to teach my son and what my husband has to teach it.
He's
so
a good
that
husband.
helps.
Good husband.
Actually, yes. Yeah.
Great, like the way you're juggling, and since you're a senior HR manager, you also set examples to your employees, if you have, looks like in all the respects, you're setting a good example to your employees as well. Next, actually, Dr. Balu, I have a very important question. Normally, most of us, take our mental health, we neglect our mental health, and it's a kind of a stigma to talk about mental health, all of us have gone through some lows in our life, and it really affects our productivity in work and life as well. And at least in India, still it's a taboo topic, and people are hesitant. Anybody, it's not only entrepreneurs, anybody feel even scared to go to a psychiatrist. They don't want to go to a psychiatrist because they will feel, they'll be labeled crazy. And I was also talking to you Sam the other day. It's also when you're evaluating a company, when you have a psychiatric disorder, whatever, even that hampers the evaluation process. That's what I heard, And I think mental health issue is a very serious issue. How do we destigmatize this issue? How do we tell people it's okay to go seek professional help? Stress is immaterial. You would always have stress, and then how do you cope with that? And you need to seek professional help. So how do you destigmatize this? What are the things? What has been happening in terms of mental health, healthcare? I would say.
So the stigma primarily comes from sort of ignorance, fear, and also it's seen as a sign of weakness. If you have an ailment of the mind, it's seen as a sign of weakness. And as we know, high-performing people, entrepreneurs, don't want to be perceived as being weak. So we need to be able to tackle these things. So we need to understand this from a slightly different perspective. What we know so far as mental illness is what I call as complications of common mental health problems. So everyone has a mind, and we're going to use it. And if we use it, it is subject to wear and tear, and it has to be maintained. If it is not maintained, it will crash. Everyone talks about the crash of the mind, but I've spoken about these first 4 steps, which we have conveniently ignored. So it's not surprising that when we are using our minds a lot and not maintaining it well, we will head for a crash. So it's not a matter of, if this would happen to somebody, it's more about when this will happen to somebody. So we are all equally vulnerable. So that's number one. We are all equally vulnerable. If we have a mind and if you're using it, if you even had a crash, that means either you're doing a good job or somebody's helping you do a good job. So be thankful for that. So, we're not unique. We're not, special in any ways, but we're equally vulnerable. So once we do that. And secondly, when, again, this is something that I put my hands up, and even as doctors as a group, we haven't been trained to look after people before they become very unwell. That is a significant issue for us as a medical community. We're not very good with prevention, right? Because we're all trained in disease management. So that is another issue. Yeah. So, talking about the point that you made, where mental wealth is as important as physical wealth in an investment scenario. In fact, some time ago, I used to consult a hedge fund, and we used to look at people's psychological profile, and particularly if you have to invest in a certain firm, look at the management team's psychological profile. And what they found was 40% of the investments went bad just because of some psychological issues in the entrepreneurs. They may not have a diagnosed mental health problem, but their emotions were hijacking their decision-making capacity on a day-to-day basis. That led to difficulties in relationship and decision-making, which then led to the demise of the company. So it's everywhere. It's around us, So I think for us, if we create more awareness, we will embrace this the problem. And as a medical community, as a specialist group, we also have to be designing solutions which are easily accessible to people in their workforce. The idea of entrepreneurs taking time off to go into a retreat or, in a hospital is not, that easy, for many people, because these guys are driven by their passion to work 24/7. So if we come up with solutions which can be brought into the offices, into their lives, it's like how, these days devices have enabled lots of things to come into people's homes. We would definitely get rid of the stigma. Now, I certainly think over the years things are improving, but we have a long way to go. And one of the big things I will appreciate, people like you and the forum is to bring out this issue into the open. And I know, Zaruk, you have personally written about your own experiences, which is much more powerful than any doctor talking about the symptoms. So things are changing, but there's a long way to go.
So, I'm, as you said, I'm an advocate for mental health. But other day when I was talking to you, I like the way you said you're going for a holistic approach rather than the people going to a clinic, and you try to go there in their environment and then try to seek, help them out, right? Which it makes more comfortable as well, So just going to a shrinks clinic scares you, right? So I think kudos, doctor. It's amazing the way you're doing, and hopefully, the world becomes a better place with people like you. And next, actually, I would like to, all as an entrepreneur, as a leader, CEO, all of us go through a failure or a loss. And this question is from Ahmed. He's always like cool as a cucumber on the outside, but he's gone through a lot. Ahmed, I know, when you go through a loss or a failure, how do you cope up with it? I always wondered, he's always calm. Whenever you see him, this is Ahmed. You never see him being nervous or stressful. How do you do it, Ahmed?
Wife doesn't agree about the statement, but anyway, let me try to say. For me, it's like, how do I put it? It's first of all, don't make it too personal. Like anything, don't get too attached. The more one gets attached, mine, it belongs to me, I have to get it, it's mine, psychologically. Never know. Things are so fragile and things keep changing constantly. So this sort of attached, detached mentality that, you are as attached as one needs to be, but you can also be as detached as one needs to be as well, because you never know. And I remember my father saying this, right? And don't even get too overly close to your children even.
That's true.
Because God forbid, because you never know. And then people get devastated when they lose a loved one, right? We all know that, we've all lost loved ones. It's inevitable that we are going to lose because nobody is eternal, right? Life itself is, it's finite. But everybody gets worried about, oh, am I going to die? Or, is this my loved one going to go? They are going to go. Everybody's going to go, right? We're all going to go. Who's going to live for 1,000 years, right? So this mentality about it is going to go one day. So if life itself is going to go, and your mother itself is going to go, and your father itself is going to go, and your loved ones are going to go, what is a company, or what is something you hold? What is a car? What is a bike? Or what is... It's nothing, right? Because what is most meaningful for us itself is going to go one day. So a sort of detached feeling. So if it is anyway going to go, it might go, then one gets tuned that it may go, right? But you still give it your best, still very attached, still give it our best shot. But if it does go, c'est la vie, right? This is one, so for me, just completely detaching from it. I think this is probably the biggest, that, completely being detached when things go wrong, and being as attached as possible when you're there with it. And then, and things pass, right? Even if things go bad or whatever it is, it passes, and it's a phase. And, what goes up comes down, what goes down goes up, right? There's a night, there's a day, there's a night. It never stays static. So then it's going to pass. However bad it seems, it's going to pass. So if it is eventually going to pass, it's just a matter of time before it happens. So this sort of, psychological tuning really helps, because as you know, I've lost so many things. I've also gained a lot of things. Also, one other thing for me, which has been very important, is sort of hedging your portfolio, if I were to call it, right, in the fund manager's terminology, hedging your bets. Okay, then you've got the whole family bucket, wife, children, kids, spend time with them, so that's full on. That's one bucket. Work, that's another bucket. Spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of, everything goes into work. Social, that's another bucket. Spend a lot of time in social work, put as much as possible, try to fill up the bucket 100% maximum, right, as high as possible. So for any of the buckets you end up losing something, the other buckets are there to sort of, hold you back, hold on to one. So if there's enough social work, if there's enough personal time that we have spent, there is physical fitness that you do, family time you have spent. So the bet is hedged. You're not dependent on one bucket. And not all buckets go off at the same time, right? It's either one bucket. Maybe at work, something goes wrong. Okay, you've lost a company, you lost money. Fine, you still have the family, you still have social, you still have your hobbies, you still have everything else. What happens many times I've seen is people put all they have into one, It's all the company. All bets are on one hand. Now, God forbid something goes to that hand, they're devastated.
No, it's great. I can vouch for you're a great cousin, you're a great friend, you're a great father, and you rightly put, and it's dichotomy, like one thing which I wouldn't say surprise, like you told about being too attached and then being detached also. It's a great, you're right. So you are attached, but at the same time you try to be detached. I think that's a great insight. Since we have I would like to go on this discussion for hours, because there's something I'm passionate about. We're very shortage of time. A little bit more questions, like just one or two. Maybe my next question to Sam. Sam, you've been you have a very varied background. You're born in China, grew up in Hong Kong, lived in the US. You work for a Singapore company. You work with a lot of different nationalities, cultures. You have a psyche. You understand the psyche of different cultures. Just as the topic's perspective, the physical health and emotional well-being, is there a difference between the Western cultures and then Eastern cultures, how they approach to this topic?
Oh yeah, thank you for that. I think that's one of the most interesting topic to me. As I, some of my people involved with the healthcare and also wellness. So everywhere I go, I try to get into, regardless it's just a chit chat, small talk, or in a one-to-one type of conversation with the management company. I do believe the health and well-being are fundamentally influenced by the cultural context. Fundamentally. So I can give you examples. Obviously, all of this is just based on my personal experience, and it's unscientific, and they are not exhaustive. For example, if I were to talk to my American friends regarding this particular topic, probably the first thing that is going to come out is really exercise regime, the diet, strictly along the line, how many calories that I'm going to burn if I were to ride the bike for 30 minutes, or how many calories of intake if I were to eat a particular food, for whatever portion. But if I were to talk to my friends in China, they probably never going to get into those number-based systems. They talk about you do Tai Chi, you do the herbal medicine, try to rejuvenate your body, you eat certain foods prepared in certain ways. Whereas if I were to talk to a Japanese friend, their definition of wellness basically starts with a good cup of tea, because they are well into that. My friends in Germany will say, they probably will, take 3 days off, go to a vacation resort, and then do some spa, relax to try to keep their mental and physical, balanced. And then this one very interesting conversation I had, I think it was earlier this year, right before the lockdown. I was in Riyadh. I was in Saudi. I was talking to a counterpart of mine. She's saying that she will conduct her daily life in accordance with the teaching of the Almighty Allah. How we deal with personal relationships, attitude towards disease, and also food, how we eat it, what to eat. So, fundamentally, I think culture is going to affect or is going to impact how people perceive health, when they're going to seek help to relieve from the disease or the conditions, how the disease is going to be perceived. For example, the topic that we were just talking about, the taboo associated with certain conditions. I think some societies are more open to it, while the others are not. So, regardless, so I think, and to me, regardless how a healthcare or a wellness system or practice is formulated or defined, without a full consideration or appreciation of the culture, I don't think it's going to be effective. Particular to the ones that we try to address. So culturally, definitely, I think it's a big part of the health.
So it's interesting. I mean, okay, even I've grown up in Japan and Hong Kong. So as you rightly said, everybody seeks that health perspective, but in a sort of different sort of way. The Japanese, as you said, like to drink green tea a lot. Europeans, for them, health is about seeking more time. Their vacations, right? And American is about calories, you're right. But overall, I think the whole world is progressing towards having a better and healthy lifestyle. I think they understand that. Panelists, I mean, I have a lot more questions, but we don't really have time. But thank you so much for all your valuable inputs. According to the UEF and our president's vision, it's 1.5 times X, growth. What that means is, as an UEF, we're helping our members to become 1.5 times their current value in terms of their net worth or their assets or their salary, whatever it is, So they grow 1.5 times more. So hopefully, like in tandem with that vision, today's topic, the audience will clearly understand the importance of health and emotional well-being. It directly translates to their productivity and to their wealth or assets, and then we had so many different perspectives in terms of health. I mean, mental health care, in terms of how we do work-life balance. I think it was great insights, and thank you all. And after this, I think we will be taking Q&A sessions. We'll be throwing open to the audiences. And anyway, thank you all for being with us, and really appreciate all your insights. Thank you so much. And now we're ready for the question and answers, please. Okay, no problem. Yeah, thank you all. Now, actually, we have quite a few questions from the audience. I would like to take a couple of questions. There's one question from Sharifa Aziz. Actually, this question goes to Ms. Amita. Work from home is becoming the new normal and has affected the mental health of many employees. How does your firm address these issues?
Yeah, very beautiful question. Am I audible, Zaru?
Yes, yeah, you are. You can go ahead.
Okay, great. Fitness, so this is from Sharifa. Okay, hi. Fitness and well-being is not a new phenomena for us as an organization. Employee happiness and well-being is a critical dimension of our journey to enhance employee experience and build employee belongingness. A famous philosopher, Plato, has once said, the part can never be well unless the whole is well. So we have wellness as an act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis. Now, with remote working becoming the new normal, the lines between the work and the personal times are rapidly getting blurred. We are missing the social interaction. So, what are we doing? Resulting in new trends such as virtual happy hours and at home workout classes. So, in this current pandemic situation, we have launched a couple of COVID-19 sentiment surveys to understand the challenges and concerns of employees. Wipro's focused mental wellness initiatives are spread across. Let me talk about few because I definitely can't cover all in one session. There are various programs like employee assistant programs which we have launched, the stress calculators and self-help portal access which we have enabled for our employees. Informal workflow discussions have been arranged. Monthly webinars with internal as well as external experts are there. We also enabled a couple of policy changes because we also been growing and learning with this new pandemic. So this has enabled us to make some policy changes. We issued a readily available handbook with tips for etiquettes in this new ways of working. But the most important thing which I feel is communicate, communicate, and communicate. Continuous communication by our leaders to employees with targeted messages on empathy, mental awareness, confidence building has been very impactful during this new normal. In past also we have done a lot of programs like wellness carnivals and now also we are doing to encourage employees to make well-being a habit and lead a happier life. There has been host of online activities like web sessions covering multiple areas of well-being. Your elder care, your stress management, diabetes management. There are many such series which we launched and we have good participation of employees across the globe. There's a beautiful policy which I would like to share and which we are proud of from our organization is no call post 6 p.m. on Friday. Okay, this allows the employees to spend quality time with their families. Planned calls cannot be scheduled on weekends. That's what is the messages which we have shared. And we are requesting our leaders to avoid asking teams to join call beyond working hours. And most importantly, these messages are coming from our CEO directly. That really helps. So I believe in this type of situation, there's no hard and fast rule as to what exactly has to be done. There are multiple focus areas and we can pick up few. I just wanted to share one more proactive steps which we have taken on fitness. We have launched a 21-day indoor fitness challenge, which brings the culture of wellness through gamified interfaces. So research suggests that it takes 21 days to inculcate a habit. So a task when done regularly for 3 weeks becomes a habit. So theme for our challenge was diet and nutrition, meditation, yoga, exercise, fitness. And since we made this as a challenge, what we found that individual and business units took this very positively. And they collaborated with each other, which enabled the success of this entire program. We saw employees, not only employees even, their family members upskilling on these meditation, yoga. It was like a Wipro family. So these are few things which I would like to share what we have done from our organization during this pandemic situation. But yeah, the list is on.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's amazing and how COVID has changed the entire scenario, right? I don't know how much technology can enable so much of wellness, but whatever said and done, having physical presence, meeting our colleagues or a coffee break, that's more important. Hopefully, the vaccination comes and we meet on the workplace. Thank you so much, Amita. We have a couple of more questions. There's one question from Sneha. Good afternoon. How can we keep motivated to work out when we have a huge workload? Open to all panelists. Anybody? How do you keep yourself motivated to work out? All right. How do you keep yourself motivated to work out when you have a workload?
Okay. So again, maybe Sam, you can add. You can go ahead, Sam. I think you are
Go ahead,
saying.
Sam.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was actually I thought Dr. Balu was gonna take the question, but let me take a credit, and then hopefully Amira and also Dr. Balu can. General attitude towards the fitness and the workout in the general concept of wellness is that I look at workout from two perspectives. One is from mental perspective, the other one is from the physical perspective. Generally speaking, I think most people will associate workout or exercise with the physical aspect of the overall wellness. Is that we go to gym, we work out, we build out the muscle, we build out the muscle mass, and then the strength. But I think another aspect is also very important is really the mental aspect, which keep my thinking sharp, my learning ability, my judgment ability sharp. So and obviously through exercise, our body produce certain chemicals which help keep keep our brain stimulated and also happy and feel content. So that's my overall approach, and then that's the attitude I took, I've been taking. So hopefully I will be able to, keep doing whatever what I have been doing. Walking my dog, do sport 2-3 times a week, and then Amira and also Dr. Balu, please feel free to add to what I just mentioned.
What I can add to that is, make workout as a part of your workload. So when you structure it that way, you will always find time for the workout because it's as important, if not more important than your work.
Exactly. I mean, I wanted to add this because I'm a stickler for routine. I make sure that I finish my workout in the morning. In fact, today I didn't work out. I don't know why. And I feel like really dull, I keep that as part of my routine so that, it doesn't feel like a chore or an extra. It's like waking up, brushing your teeth, working out is a routine. And what? You should make it as a routine, Sneha. That's what I think we should. We have one last question. I think it's a very important question. The question comes from Prabhu Raja. How important is spirituality for emotional well-being? Any one of you? Just one line, and then we are good to go. We can finish the session.
I think that it is very important. It is more about an individual practice, and it has something to do with your sense of peace and purpose. So when you look at stress at work, it's very important that you are able to be spiritual so that it makes it easier to manage stress. You get a sense of perspective. You have peace within you. You have a sense of purpose. And even with diseases, having a belief that things will get better makes it much easier to withstand any pressures that, we come across. And as Mr. Ahmed Bahari mentioned, there are lots of uncertainties. What goes up comes down, and what goes down comes up. And when you're spiritual, when you're practicing that regularly, it keeps you balanced in this roller coaster ride.
I think it's a very, very good question because spirituality, whether it's religion, meditation, whatever, it gives you a hope. And hope is something which can actually hold on. It can make you stronger. I think that's a very valid point, Dr. Balu. I think, is there anything, Ahmed, you want to add for spirituality or anything else? We can close the session otherwise. Okay. Thank you so much for coming for such an important topic. As everybody says, health is wealth. And there's no wealth without health, And thank you all the panelists. You're there, Ahmed, yeah. Thank you, panelists. And especially thank you, Sam, and you're coming in from Washington, which is 2:30 in the morning. I'm very
okay. It's okay. It's been my pleasure thank you so much for
very happy and really thanks. And after this, you need to go have your good 8 hours sleep, And thank you.
I really appreciate that.
From Dubai and London, and thank you, Amita. It was a great session. I think all of us benefited from this session. And if there's any feedback, please, you can reach to any one of us. We're always there to help you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care.